Good morning, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining this webinar. Today we will present the results of the first pan-Baltic survey of family businesses, and we'll also discuss how to make your family business successful through generations. We are happy that nearly 100 participants joined this online event today, and I hope that it will be interesting and beneficial discussion and event for all of us. Many of you are Sorainen clients or cooperation partners, so I don't need to present Sorainen. Very briefly, I'm Laimonas Skibarka, partner and co-head of our private client team. The private client team in Sorainen is advising clients on a wide range of issues. We advise family businesses, other private clients on governance of family businesses, implementation of family constitution, succession planning, family law matters like prenuptial agreements, divorces, inheritance, other topics, investments into art, and I have nice painting of Vilnius Old Town here today instead of usual background, and also taxation and other areas which are relevant for the family businesses and private clients. Now, this event is co-organized together with Baltic Family Firm Institute, BFFI, and I would like to ask Krista Jaakson, board member of BFFI and associate professor at University of Tartu, to briefly introduce BFFI.
Thank you very much, Laimonas. Greetings from Tartu. My name is Krista Jaakson, and I'm very happy to just share a very basic information about the organization, Baltic Family Firm Institute. We are quite young. We were founded a little bit more than 2 years ago. What we do here is we are providing a platform for networking for family businesses. We also want to organize events for the development and training for family businesses, and we do it with advisory and workshops, and also a conference. And overall, our mission is also to advocate the reputation of family business as such in the Baltic area. So our biggest event is annual Baltic Family Firm Conference. We do it every summer, and the next one is also going to be in Riga in June, but we've had one in Tartu, and this year in June in Vilnius. We also conduct research projects because the founding members are academic institutions, SSR Riga, Tartu University, Riseba University of Applied Sciences, and ISM University of Management Economics. So obviously we are interested in doing research and do collaborations with other associations, family businesses in Europe mostly. We do hold online club events. And finally, every year we give out family firm champions at our conference. And we also created these nice badges which should appear on the screen so that the family businesses who have chosen to be champions based on different criteria can use them for their own promotion. We also have our LinkedIn account, so you can follow it, and our website, BFFI Global. So I invite everybody who is interested in our activities to follow our actions. And this is all from me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Krista. BFFI, of course, is very important and valuable organization in this ecosystem because you are the only pan-Baltic organization representing, advising, and promoting family businesses. So we are very happy to cooperate with you, and I think we will have a very good discussion today. So a few household rules. First, you're welcome to send questions, to put questions on Q&A chat, which you should see on your screens. We will try to answer the questions in the end of the panel discussion, or we may also, if we have time and possibility, we may respond to them in writing during the event. Alternatively, you can send your questions by email to any of us. The email addresses will be visible in the slides and in the end of the event, and also on our website. We will share the slides and we will share the video of the recording of the webinar with all of you after the event. So you don't need to take notes, but if you like, you can take them. And also we will post them on Sorainen website under the events section. Now let me introduce my colleague Jurgita Karvelė. She's Counsel Sorainen, and she's also head of our private client team in Lithuania. And Jurgita will present the results of the first pan-Baltic survey of family businesses. Jurgita, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Thank you, Laimonas. I'm very happy to present to you the results of the first pan-Baltic survey of family businesses. Why we started this survey? Because the question was, how much do we know about family businesses? Walmart, BMW, Ford Motor Company, Schwarz. These are the names of the biggest worldwide family businesses. And we wanted to know, what do we know about Baltic family businesses? And how do they see themselves as family businesses? What do they think about governance? What do they think about succession planning? Are we on the right track? And so we did the survey, and we are very happy to share the results with you. So we asked over 300 family businesses in our survey and gave them the same questions in Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia. And as you can see, we received responses from Estonia 99, from Lithuania 89, and from Latvia even more, 114. And that's why we believe that we have quite a full picture of how family businesses see themselves in the market, and they agreed to share some inside stories about their businesses, and I will share them with you. So our survey was divided into two parts. It was governance of family business and succession of family businesses, as we believe that those two parts are most important when we talk, when we think, and when we try to help our family businesses to flourish and to be successful through many, many generations. So first is the portrait of our respondents. Actually, this portrait we can see from Estonia and Lithuania, because when we made the first survey in Latvia, we didn't ask this question. That's why we do not have the answers, but we believe that the responses should be quite similar. So the question was, is the person who responding to our question a family member of this family? And in Estonia, we can see that the majority of respondents were family members, when in Lithuania, almost half of them were not family members. Usually they were managers of the company who were not family members. And this can be important when looking to the further answers to our questions. And another question was, if you are a family member, are you a founder, or are you a person of next generation? And again, the answer to this question is also important. And why? When we were participating in the conferences, speaking to the advisors and family members of Western European or even USA companies, and we were discussing about how family business operate there, because they operate for many generations already. They have practices which we do not. We are just creating this environment. And the answer was that the most difficult situation is of the second generation. And this is why, because the first generation, the founders, they establish the business, they grew this business, and then they will move away, and actually it will not be their business how the heirs will manage together to continue this business. And for the second generation, there are no rules, or there are few rules, there is no practice how to transfer the business, and they will have to do this. So again, it is very important who is answering to our questions. And so the first question, does a family member influence strategic decision making in your company? And already we have very interesting situation here. As you can see, in Estonia and in Lithuania, we have quite similar responses. The majority answers is yes, and about 25% is no. And in Latvia, we have a little bit different situation when yes answer is only 57% and no answer is 43%, meaning that in Latvia, family members not always influence strategic decisions in the company. And perhaps they are made by the founders of this company who also are the managers, perhaps, of the company. And the second question was very interesting and personally to me, and the question was, do you introduce your company as a family business, example, to cooperation partners, customers, or employees? And the results were quite surprising to us because all our respondents were family businesses. So this question was related to whether those family businesses recognize publicly themselves and demonstrate themselves as family businesses. And as you can see, the biggest numbers are in Latvia. 57% family businesses introduce themselves as family businesses, but almost half, 43%, they do not do this. And the situation in Estonia and Lithuania is even worse, if I can say so, because the bigger part of family business do not introduce themselves as family businesses. The question is why? We do not have the answer. We may assume, we discussed internally, that maybe this is because those businesses are very new and the families do not know whether this business will succeed through next generation, first, second, third, and so on. And that's why maybe they are a little bit cautious, and that's why they do not introduce their business as family business. When at the beginning, I said few examples of worldwide known family businesses in the world who are proud to represent themselves as family businesses. So this is the question for us to answer in the future. Another question was asked, how resilient the family businesses are. And we gave two questions to our respondents. To what extent do you agree that your company can recover quickly from crises and failures? And to what extent do you agree that your company can easily handle the challenges? And what we can see from the slide, that the most optimistic people live in Estonia, because completely agree, the answer was 59% Estonians completely agree that the company may quickly recover from crisis and failures. And Lithuanians and Latvians are a little bit more modest. And to the question, to what extent do you agree that your company can easily handle challenges? Here we have that completely agree and rather agree. The numbers are pretty much the same, but the bigger numbers still are completely agree. So we are very happy that our family businesses are very optimistic here. And why did we give this question in general? What is the importance of this question and the answer to this question? And as you will see later, we will speak about what drives family businesses. We will speak about values, and this maybe is the main difference between the family businesses and non-family businesses that also have certain values, but they are not united by family members. And also we were interested in in the situation, is there any correlation between emotions and education? And family business is the area where we can speak about emotions. And I remember during BFFI conference in Vilnius that Krista mentioned at the beginning of our conference, we were happy, me and Laimonas, we had a joint presentation with Harvard professor Kristina Wing, and she's working with family businesses for many years, and her topic was difficult conversations. And this topic was really very interesting and important because when you have family business, you deal not only with business, you deal not only with money and economical challenges. You also deal with your relationships with your family members. And these things are not very easy. Even when you do not have business, sometimes it's not easy to deal with your family members. But when it comes to business, when you are responsible for other people, for your employees, so it becomes more and more difficult. So we wanted to see the correlation between emotions and formal part of the situation, education. So we gave the question, how important do you consider formal and academic education of family members who are managing the business? And no surprises, completely agree, the majority of respondents. However, Latvians, you can see the smallest the amount of the respondents that completely agree, and they chose rather agree, 23%. And another question, how often do managers in your company make decisions based on emotions? And here we see correlations, that the priority is given to formal education, meaning a rational side of the situation, and emotions are taken into account only rather rarely or even rarely. And we can see that Lithuanians are at least emotional people, 46% said rarely, and perhaps Latvians are more emotional because rarely they say the smallest amount. 35% of the respondents said rarely. And I would like to pay your attention that also Latvians to this question answered often, 8%, when Lithuanians 0 and Estonians 3%. So we can say that from the previous slide, and you will see in the next slide, that maybe Latvians are very family orientated and they really try to keep the business within the family. But just I will not spoil the results of the next slides. To what extent do you agree that family values play a role in your company? So here we come to the values that are very important. As you can see, no surprises here. Family values are important. And again, you can see that Latvians are the leaders in this situation because 73% of the respondents said completely agree. When in Estonia and Lithuania, completely agree are only 41 and 47%. And again, you will see correlation with those results with the answers to the next questions in our next slides. We also asked a question about traditions and what cultural environment family business try to create, if any. And we received many examples of what traditions are created by families in their family business. And family involvement in business activities and traditions is a strong cultural focus. And in all three countries, there was an emphasis that family participation in decision-making process, as well as company events and gatherings, is important. And what the families, the respondents, mentioned to us. So celebrations are a central part of family traditions in all three countries. Birthday, holidays like Christmas, Easter's, and some families even disclose to us that they give paid off time for those celebrations so that all family members could come and participate, special events, anniversaries, and other events. Also, what values are important to your family and to family business? So what we heard is loyalty, respect, and openness are upheld in companies across over three countries. And also what was important to us, the answers that family businesses try to make less formal, more personal relationship. and all countries focus on fostering personal bonds and maintaining less formal atmospheres. And when we speak about the values, I cannot not remember our meeting with Mati Rajvil. We had this summer together with our clients. So Radvila, he's descendant of the noble family of Radvilas, and to us Lithuanians, maybe also Estonians and Latvians know something. So to us, Radvilas is the noble family in history books. We studied them at school, and we do not take them personally. We in our heads, they are not like real people. They are something from history who contributed to creation of our Lithuania, and that's it. And now here comes a real person who talks about Radvila's family as about his own family. And that was very interesting, because what he said was that we managed to survive. We managed to keep our businesses ups and downs just because we adhered to our values. We had very strong values. This built very strong reputation in the market, and that's why our business managed to survive. So that was really very impressive, and actually for me to help to understand that the values is really core principle. And here we go to trust and disagreement from the values. So our question was, how often have you had difficulties in resolving intra-family disagreements related to the development of family businesses? And just I would like to pay your attention to the answer, never. Here we have huge differences between the answers. Latvians, 45% never had disagreements. Again, please remember the previous slide, where also we had different answers from the Latvians. Another question, to what extent do you agree that there is trust in your company between employees and managers, between employees and family members? Trust is important to every company. No surprises, the majority answered completely agree in all countries. And here we come to succession, the next part of our questions. And the question was, if you are a family member, do you want to pass your business down to the next generation in your family? No surprises. Very similar answers in Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. The majority answered yes. The main aim is to transfer business to family member as a next generation leader. And here we come now to implementation of this idea. And the question was, does the company have a successor, someone who is brought up to take over the management of the company? And again, you can see quite different answers here. Latvians, yes, 69%. 69% of Latvian family business companies already have the successor. What is the situation in other countries? Estonia, 50-50. Very good result. Half of the companies do have their successor. And then the question was, if you have the successor, is he a family member? And of course, no surprises here. Of course, the majority of the answers was yes. And the next very important question, do you have a formal or informal succession plan? Meaning that if you are thinking about succession, are you planning it? And do you take any steps to do this? And again, Latvians in the first place, 45%, the answer is yes, almost half. However, Estonia, Lithuania, not in such a situation. In Estonia, 27% of companies have formal or informal succession plan. Lithuania, 25% have such a plan. Next question, does your firm has a family business constitution? We will speak about constitution during our discussion, so I will not stop here, but the constitution is the general document that provides in itself the principles, the main management principles, the values that are important to the company. The majority of the companies do not have it. Why? Maybe they are not thinking how they will transfer the business, how they will manage, how will we behave if real crisis comes. And this is the place where family businesses, we as advisors, and of course the members of those families should think about and should do something. Does your company have a system in place to train a successor? No surprises here already. Latvia, yes, 42%. Lithuania, only 8% of our respondents have a plan how to train a successor, meaning, well, they are not preparing in advance. Is it good? Again, the question to answer, we think that preparation is needed because there is a good saying, success happens when a prepared person meets an opportunity. And we with Laimonas yesterday rephrased this phrase and we say, failure appears when an unprepared person meets a crisis. So yeah, this is kind of yellow light or maybe even red light to think about for family businesses. So as we can see, in Lithuania and Estonia, we quite similar results where the family members are encouraged to try to gain their expertise outside business. But in Latvia, no, Latvians would like to remain their family members within the business. And the next slide is, do the younger generation bring some novelties and innovative solutions to the company? All businesses agree that yes. However, to the question, to what extent do you agree that the company has established specific criteria for the characteristic competences of the successors and skills, example, education, experience, and gender? Now we have quite different answers. And we have completely agree, Lithuanian 33%, but disagree or completely disagree Estonians say 40%, meaning that they do not see the need to establish specific characteristics in their family business governance. And last question we gave to our families is, if no family member wanted to manage the company anymore, to what extent would you be willing to hand over the management to the company to professional management? So here we see that the majority of the companies would be thinking of transferring their businesses to some professional management, not family members. So these were all answers to our question. Thank you so much, and I am giving floor to Laimonas.
Thank you, Jurgita, for very inspiring and engaging presentation. Now we will move to the panel discussion, but before that, there are two questions, and I think we can take them now because these are the questions about the survey. So one question is, how did you define family business and how did you compose the selection? I think probably our colleagues from BFFI are the best to comment. Anita, do you want to comment? Because this is your academic definition of family business and how we approach those respondents. Can you comment?
Yes, of course. Yeah, thank you, Laimonas. Yeah, so the selection of the company, so we took it from the original database of enterprise register that is provided by international data provider Orbis, and we selected companies that are more than 50% owned within one family, and family being defined at least two persons with the same surname, so more than 50% of ownership, plus the requirement was that they have at least one board seat. So that's the definition of family firms, and there are several definitions, but that's what we use in this sample. At least two members from with same surname, and we also had a size limit of at least 1 million euros turnover.
Okay, thank you. So basically, it's where we have at least two family members with the same surname, even if someone maybe got married and changed the surname, as it happens sometimes, but that's for sure that there are at least two family members with same surname having more than 50% controlling the business. So this was the main criteria. So we are pretty confident that these are more or less all family businesses. And then, of course, when they were receiving calls, they were told that this is about family business survey. So if someone's totally disagreed that they are family business, they would not respond. Now, Jurgita, the second question, can you comment, have you thought about reasons behind dissenting results of Latvia in majority of questions?
Yeah, we were thinking, but I do not have the answer. And maybe some sociologists could help to answer what a cultural difference. However, it's surprising that, well, in general, we have such assumption that Lithuanians and Latvians are more closer together than Estonians, who are closer to Finnish people. But here we have those interesting answers. So no, we do not know the answer, and maybe some other could comment more, and what would be the ideas for such results.
My kind of guess or takeaway was that probably, yeah, Latvian business culture in family business, it's more cozy, more family driven, and they know the successor, they know the values are important, they don't have many disagreements in the family in relation to the business. So it's kind of cozier, closer environment, and they don't encourage the successors to go out and try other companies. While in Lithuania and Estonia, it is a bit opposite, that especially in Lithuania, as we know from family constitutions where we have advised on implementing, basically there's a standard provision that family members should gain, the young generation should gain experience in other companies, and then should come back to the family business, because this external experience is appreciated. Okay, let's move now to the panel discussion.
Yes, yep. Sorry, okay. If I may jump up with these answers. I think also, like in Latvia, most of the answers were provided by family businesses themselves, by family business members themselves. And I noticed in the beginning of presentation, you said in Lithuania and Estonia, it was more also some of the managers and outside, like non-family members. So maybe that could also like add to the differences. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, correct. That could be also one of the reasons. Okay, let's move to our panel discussion. So we will have quite a big panel. I will try to moderate. So first, these are representatives of BFFI. You have already met Krista, Jaakson. Valdonė Darškuvienė is a professor at ISM in Lithuania. And Anette was speaking. Anette Pajuste is professor at Stockholm School of Economics in Riga, and also visiting professor at Boston University. So all three of them are board members of BFFI. So welcome, Krista, Valdonė, and Anette. And we'll have also my colleagues from Sorainen. You already know Jurgita. We also have Kärt, Kelder, who is our co-head of private client team together with me regionally, and also head of team in Estonia. Santa Rubīna is head of private client team in Latvia, and I will be moderating. So do you all hear me? Are you all here? Okay, let's start. So for me, the main takeaway, or the most important finding from this survey was that as many as 85%, I counted all Baltic votes, 85% of the respondents said that they want to transfer business to the next generation. So there's a very strong will to transfer business. And we were discussing why so many. In some international other surveys, it was about 65%, 70%. Maybe people who responded, they're very interested in the topic, so maybe they are more focused on this topic. But still, and it was, as Jurgita noted, it was very also surprising that only minority of them have an informal or formal succession plan. So it was 25% in Lithuania, 27% in Estonia, 44% in Latvia. So it is very obvious that there's a lot of space for improvement to prepare better for generational transfer of family businesses. So maybe I would ask now, Anette, could you comment from your standpoint, what are the main steps for family businesses for preparing in order to prepare for transfer of business to next generation?
Yeah, thank you, Laimonas. So I will speak from the experience from what I have seen in different conferences and family panels in primarily in the US, where I'm based now. And this was already mentioned in the presentation, and Jurgita, I think, very nicely emphasized that the first thing is values. The businesses that are successful, that go into the second, third, fourth generation, that's repeatedly come up in the stories that family values are very central to the longevity of these businesses, to success, to resilience of the successful multi-generational businesses. The second point that is very important is the governance, that there are structures, there is board, there are outside members, independent board members, family council, family constitution. And I see there is also a question in the Q&A whether the owners consider outside external managers, professional managers, only if their children are not interested. And the answer is no. These successful businesses, they surround themselves with expertise. That's also something that I notice in these family business stories, that they have advisors, they have professional managers, they have external independent board members. They literally surround themselves with people that are more knowledgeable in some aspect of the business than themselves. So the answer to the question would be no. Even this professional managers, external management can be brought in if they are more experienced and better appropriate for the particular role.
If I may interrupt also,
yeah.
This is a very important topic. And we saw that in Latvia, it's predominantly family businesses want to have their family members, and they want them to stay in the company. I think what we see also in family constitutions, it's quite often not only requirement to gain experience outside for the next generation, but also there's a principle that when choosing management, there must be comparison with external talent. So that you compare, if there are better candidates from outside, you should probably take a better candidate from outside, because you want your family business to be competitive and resilient through generations. If you keep appointing only your internal family members who are not as competent as external talent, you will lose the competitive competition in the market. And then one more point, there was one good study by Kelder Business School, I think, where about one of the family businesses, I need to check the name, where they have agreed that they never appoint family members to the management, only external. So there are also these extreme other examples.
Yeah, that Laimonas, it's interesting that you brought it up. It's actually, there was like one in our first conference in Tartu. We had a fifth generation representative from a big German company, and in their company, that's the rule. CEO may not be from family. Yeah, that's a strict rule. It has to be external. Yeah, so so these models are different, and and the most important that it has to be. Doesn't matter whether it's within family or outside, but the appropriate education and experience for the role. And and my final point, like to your question, is that timely succession planning is important. That it's in these companies that stay resilient over generations, they have this constitution succession plan prepared in a very timely way. The first time I heard these discussions and then panel presentations, that in many families start talking about this when their kids are at the age of 8, 9, 10 years old. At the family dinners, they bring up these values, they take children to their businesses, they involve them in community service, and like very memorable presentation was from a Brazilian, very wealthy family, the fifth generation, where they were like giving these message to the 9-year-old son that, yeah, you are rich, we are in a different, we live in a better houses than maybe most of your classmates, but you are also responsible. So this value is given that this wealth comes with responsibility. And with this message, you can hope that when the kid will be 18, he will be acting responsibly with family wealth rather than playing poker and buying Ferraris and so on. I think that was very important message, that these values are given to the next generation early on.
Thank you, Anita. Any comments from Valdone or Krista from Lithuanian, Estonian perspective?
So maybe I will continue. I think one thing that defines successful succession, and it applies both to the family succession, but also if professional CEO is hired, is the founder's self-reflection and kind of active desire to really support the transition and willingness to step back. So once you make this decision that, okay, probably I should start to resign sooner or later, then this is a one-way ticket. So you cannot kind of be on and off with this decision. That destroys the success. It doesn't mean, of course, that there could not be a joint management phase. I mean, that's quite normal. And then the gradual transition takes place. But I mean, it just
I'm
goes.
smiling, Krista, because there was one consultant, management consultant in Lithuania, who said 90% of those cases of joint management together with the founder or even the appointed first CEO, 90% of cases fail. We have many examples. So it is not easy to have this transition.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. So maybe, yeah. This is something that comes from the international studies. Maybe in the Baltics it wouldn't work for some reason. But then, yes, one more point. I mean, of course, Aneta mentioned this never too early thing, that really you start preparing family members quite early. But then one thing that maybe should not be forgotten is the stakeholder preparation as well. So that you announce it early on that, okay, there is a different person taking over rather soon, for employees, for customers, for suppliers, because they may be in awe when it happens very suddenly, and that may be harmful for the business.
Okay, yes, Krista. So it works in the Baltics because my point was that when the founder still meddles in the management, still tries to co-manage, then it doesn't work. If the founder transfers the management properly, then it should work. It works in most cases. Valdone, anything to add from you?
I would like to pick up this question and add the word professionalization, which is very important for the success and for the resilience of business in general and for successful succession. So professionalization from several points of view. It's professional advisory that we get through constitutions, from building the constitutions for the families on one hand. On the other hand, probably education, which was shown in the survey, is a very important factor that can be brought through standard education in the best business schools, in the best universities, but also locally through local programs. And then probably I would come back to the issue of the activities of the institute, BFFI, Baltic Family Farm Institute, the conferences and the meetings that we organize for family members, to allow them to recognize what are the key issues they can resolve locally through local opportunities, meetings and discussing and getting the professional advice.
Okay, thank you. Very good points, and resonate with our study. Now let me ask my colleagues about what happens in those bad scenarios when there is no succession planning and there is no preparation for the transition. We have had quite a number of kind of famous inheritance disputes and situations. Maybe Jurgita, you can share a few from Lithuania, and then Santa and Kärt from Latvia, Estonia. But very briefly, as we have only 30 minutes left.
Yes, Laimonas, thank you. I'm a litigation lawyer, so as always happen to appear the final stage of a dispute where there is no plan of succession. So, of course, we can just remember very famous and very public cases of the death of the richest man of Lithuania, Bronislavas Lubys, back in 2011, where there was no inheritance plan and his sudden death forced, actually, we can say the business was derailed because the disputes between the heirs were very harsh and they really impacted the business very much. And later on, we had also very famous situation with Mr. Karpavičius, who also died, and he had a will, but again, this will was under very suspicious circumstances made, and there were very huge disputes between his new wife and his son and former wife regarding the property to be inherited, meaning that it also impacted the business. So not having the plan gives work to us litigators, but it's very bad for business.
It did. Those two companies, like Heme Group and Marijampolės Pieno Concern, we have suffered a lot from those because of those disputes. Santa, what about Latvia?
Well, I guess for Latvia, the largest case is Maleginskis case with Wolenpa. And there was a will. Everything was kind of taken care of. However, what is important is to talk about the spouse's rights and the rights of the heirs, whom we don't mention in the will, but they do have a right under the law. So there was a plan, but this plan was not watertight, waterproof, and it didn't work out. I think in addition to the legal structure, preparing your family for being in place, understanding the structure, how the transition will happen, it's also very important to prepare them emotionally so that it's not only the legal side that is done, but it's also the emotional side. And unfortunately, Malegin's case was a real train wreck there. So, Kärt,
Thank you.
floor to you.
Thank you. Yeah, Kärt.
Thank you. Yes, in Estonia too, of course, we have had several cases, where either the person has died interstate, it means without the will, or there have been actually disagreements about the will. And both cases are really important because one shows that the person who has passed away and has done it without the will, he's not caring enough about the future of his business and also the family. I would say that it is quite a irresponsible thing to do if you are head of a bigger family. And another one shows, the case where you have disagreements over the will, shows actually the bad planning. And we do have several of these, but I think, where we even more recently, we have had cases where it was just insufficient planning, whatever reason, but insufficient. One of the biggest cases recently was Pielman's family's case, where there was a will, but there are some underage kids, and the representative of those kids was trying to attack this setup, and unfortunately it got a lot of public attention, a lot of media articles about it, which was impossible to avoid. In case of proper planning early on, maybe it would have been possible to put some fines or non-disclosure agreements into place or something like that. Second case, something like similar, where it was disagreement about the will, was a Weber case from Tartu, where basically, one of the heirs was giving up the right to inherit against the compensation, which is completely legal transaction in Estonia, and it made perfect sense, because if you have a running business and one of the heirs has been a key figure in running this business, it makes sense that he can run this business into future, uninterrupted. And in this case, the other here contested such a settlement later on by saying that, the compensation was not enough. And these cases follow. There are several. And we also had recently one public case, which I can mention. It was not so much recorded, but it was Natura Siberica's case, where you have a big producer of home chemicals, shampoos, and the person died interstate. But of course, you know, he had several families. His ex-wife was a key person and also a shareholder in a big conglomerate. And the huge fights started between the heirs. But just to give you the financial impact of this was that if couple of years, you know, when the main shareholder and the director was still alive, you know, the company was assessed about $1 billion. And then they started the inheritance dispute. He died. It basically fell to the half. And by the time, you know, they had been fighting 2 or 3 years, I mean, basically nobody wanted. I mean, I can't say that nobody wanted, but, you know, the company's value has minimized greatly.
Thank you, Kärt. This is a good example. We can lose a lot of value in the family if the succession is not properly planned and if there are disputes. But we also have some positive examples. One positive example recently, and I have permission to talk about it, is the situation in Iva Baltic, Lithuanian family business in agriculture sector, agriculture machinery sector. They had the founder, Irmantas Tarvidis, died in this summer at the age of 59. And the transition was very smooth and I would say very successful, as far as I know and as far as I see from the company's activities and performance. And this happened because there was succession planning. His daughter, Monika Tarvidita, was in the business for already 4 years as a CEO, Chief Operating Officer. Another daughter, younger daughter, Gabija, was in the business for a year as innovation director. The wife, Asta, was also involved. So they were quite involved in the business. And when the crisis happened, when the founder and the CEO died at the age of 59, quite suddenly this transition was very, I would say, very successful. And one of the reasons was that also they had family constitution discussions. They haven't signed the family constitution at that time, but they had already drafted, discussed, and they had agreed the values, and they had agreed what is the vision for the business. So that preparation was already in place. Maybe it's a good case study in the future for BFFI to study and to share. Okay, we talked a lot about planning, and one of the instruments is, of course, family constitution. Maybe it's a bit, you know, kind of mystic kind of ephemeric topic to many of you, but I have here one real constitution. I closed the name of the family, but this is a real constitution on which we worked on implementing it. It was drafted by the asset managers, as is usually the case, and I can tell you what are the key headings in those type of family constitutions. So first, family values, vision, and mission. As was said, Anita said, family values are very important. Maciej Radziwiłł, Motiejus Radvila said the same. Then definition of members of the family. This is, you know, who are considered the members of the family, who are involved in the governance and so on. Then family governance, assembly, council, committees, and as you see, family governance comes first, and then there's also resolution of conflicts, and then family business and its governance. Because, you know, the theory is that it should be parallel. Family governance is one thing, family business governance, the governance of the business is the other thing. It's very important to keep family engaged, to do succession planning, to raise new generation, to educate them, to teach them about the business, to teach them about finance and other topics. So those elements like family assemblies, which are usually happening once a year, or the whole family gathers, council, which is taking place more often, committees, and education committee is very important one which is focusing on education of family members. So these are very important elements of family governance. And then family business governance, the structure of family business, then board, participation of family members in those structures and so on. And then another heading or chapter usually is family's assets or estate, how these assets are managed, how the surplus, how the surplus from annual dividends and other asset increase is distributed to family members and so on. So these are the kind of key topics, key headings in the real family constitutions which are developed in the Baltics. Probably Lithuania is a couple of steps ahead because we counted that probably around 40 constitutions in Lithuania have been signed or are being kind of discussed. In Latvia, Estonia, we estimate it could be up to 20 probably in each of the countries. And this is driven by the advisors, by family offices, and I think this trend is also coming to Latvia and Estonia. Another approach is that instead of having this maybe a bit more kind of comprehensive document, some families just choose to decide what is the business governance, how they govern the business. They agree the shareholders agreement for the company. They agree the structure. So some family businesses don't go into this family governance topics, but focus on the business. Okay, we still have a few minutes. Maybe we can still do some completing remarks. I saw some studies that for the successful transgenerational continuation of businesses, two elements are very important: entrepreneurial spirit among family members, raising and kind of promoting it, and second, cohesion of the family in the families through joint meetings, trainings, philanthropic activities, and so on. Maybe Anette, Valdone, Krista, maybe you can share some examples or some insights on this. Do you see that happening in the Baltics? Can we do more about that? What is your view?
I would like to pick up and say that definitely new generation is raising questions about the purpose, and their understanding of purpose is quite different. But when they become the successors, they successfully introduce this purpose into the business. So Biržų duona is an excellent example from Lithuania, Gemos linen from Latvia, OptiPro from Estonia. So really we have good examples to build on.
Very good. Any additional insights? And I will wrap up because the time is finishing.
Laimonas, I wanted to say that there is one more question in the chat.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. Maybe we can answer that one before closing.
Okay, perfect. So there was, which question do you mean? Can you read it?
It's a question regarding your question about if the owners would be considering to transfer decision-making right to external management. Are the owners considering it only if their own children are not interested, or is there any correlation?
Yeah, I think we a bit touched this topic already earlier, but I think as we discussed and Krista commented on that, I think the best practice I would say is to have comparison between internal family talent and external talent. If you can hire good managers from outside, you should go for it. If you can educate your children and they can be very competitive, then naturally children could be appointed to lead the company because it's important for the long-term competitiveness of the company. And this external, maybe some advice to Latvian family businesses. External experience is also very important. If you raise your children only within your business, it may not be as strong. They may not be as strong managers as they could be after gaining some external experience. But okay, we now need to wrap up because the time is out. So I will try to summarize in few sentences. So basically, I think we all know that family businesses form a large part of Baltic economy. And it's very important that this succession planning that is transgenerational transition between generations, which is starting now, which only the first family businesses have been transferred to second generation. Others are planning to do that. It's very important that this process is successful. There are a number of international studies, and we can debate with Aneta. I know that maybe the numbers can be questioned, but at least a few of those studies say that only 25-30% of family businesses make it to the second generation. The rest are failing or are being sold to investors before the second generation has a chance to take over. I think we can do much better in the Baltics. We can have much better success rate of family businesses going now to the second generation, but we need to have proper preparations. It's not okay that we have only 30-40% of companies having succession plans. We need to prepare more of the companies for transition, and I think all players have to make input. BFFI, us lawyers, other advisors, family offices, asset managers, universities, we all have to contribute. We are all a part of one ecosystem of family businesses in the Baltics, and if we all contribute, I think we will achieve those better success rates and a lot of more positive impact for our economies, because Baltic family businesses are successful, resilient, confident, and innovative. So with that positive note and positive wish, let me complete this webinar. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all who contributed, and I hope we meet after a couple of years with new results of maybe a new survey when we see what was the progress of all these efforts. So thank you all, and we will complete.